Do not fall in. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my relaunch into BookTube series. I'm uploading one video every day for the first week of January to relaunch my BookTube channel. I'm really excited for the new year and creating new videos. So I have a lot planned for this week. Today I'm going to be talking about the 23 books that I want to read in 2023. These are all books that are already on my shelves that I really want to get to. I didn't want to include any new releases. Let's just jump into it and we'll start talking about the books. First off, I'm going to talk about the romance books that I want to get to. First up being The Bridgerton, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. I read this series a very long time ago. There was a point in my life where I binge read a bunch of historical romance and I read this. I have not picked it up since the movie adaptation came out on Netflix, and I have not watched the Netflix adaptation because I want to reread the books. I think they're already coming out with the 3rd season, so I really need to get to this. So I'm going to make it a priority this year to pick up and reread this series. A lot of them are on Book Outlet. The next book that I want to pick up is The King by J.R. Ward. This is the 12th book in her Black Dagger Brotherhood series. When I say that, that just sounds insane that I've read 12 books that are pretty much this size from the author, and a majority of them I read on Kindle. This series is about a brotherhood of vampires, and each book focuses around a relationship. I haven't read, I don't even know what book they're on right now. I think 20. I think she's already ended the series and moved on to something else. I still have not gotten past book 12. I want to get back to it. I feel like I just need to get over that hump and move on to the next book in the series. The next book that I want to read is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I used to read a lot of historical fiction romances, and this one would always get recommended to me. Always, because I was a very voracious reader, and I would read, if I loved a book, I would go see any other books and any other series that were comparable, and this book always got recommended, but I was never interested in picking it up, and I think it was a time travel thing that just doesn't sound appealing to me, even though I've read books with time travel in them and I enjoyed them. And then the TV series came out and I couldn't watch the TV series because I had to read this. In 2023, I'm making it a goal to finally get to these novels. And then last but not least, I have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I've heard nothing but great things about this. I picked it up because I thought it would be similar to Normal People by Sally Rooney. So I thought it was going to be like a literary fiction novel specifically with romance. But I think this is actually classified as a romance. Two people, they used to date in high school, somehow they split up and they both become authors, and they meet at this writing convention, and they found out that they've been writing about each other all this time, so they have this whirlwind of a romance restart for 7 days, and it's supposed to be really good. Okay, I'm gonna try and not summarize every book because we will be here forever. The next couple of books are gonna be adult fantasy books that I want to get to. I've really been in an adult fantasy mood, and there are so many that I haven't gotten to yet. The first one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is about a woman who makes a deal where she can live forever, but the catch is that nobody can remember her until one day she walks into a bookstore and somebody remembers her. It's supposed to be really good. A lot of people really, really enjoy it. The next book that I have is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is a mystery with a kind of fantastical element to it. Next, I really want to get to the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. A lot of people talk about this author and really, really enjoy her works. This is the first in a trilogy, and I think the reason why I haven't picked it up is because I hear that it is kind of hard to get into, that it really takes like 100-ish pages before the pace really gets picked up. So I've been kind of intimidated, but I want to make this a priority in 2023 so I can finally read some N.K. Jemisin. The next book that I have is Bid Tea by Nnedi Okorafor. I really want to get into sci-fi. The next is a huge book that I want to get to, and this is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. A lot of people really enjoy this author, and this was released last year and got a ton of buzz around it. I really want to get to this. I really want to read more about vampires. I miss the days of where vampires were trending and every author and every publisher was producing like some sort of vampire novel. Anyway, the next book that I really want to read is Circe by Madeline Miller. I read Song of Achilles, and that book, I love that book so much. I had all the feels and love for it. And so this is the next book that she published, and I haven't gotten around to it. This is a retelling of the myth of Circe. Next is the first in a trilogy, and that is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. I'm excited for this. All of the books are out in the series, so if I love this, I can binge read it. It's about a thief who's been given the mission of stealing, we should say, a magical artifact, and it turns out this magical artifact just has immense amounts of power. It can just rewrite everything, and now people are on the hunt for not only the artifact but also our main character who stole it. Moving on to some young adult. I mentioned in my goals for 2023 that I want to read some more young adult. I've really pulled away from young adult, but I have a few books on my shelves that I feel like I'm just missing out so much because I feel like everyone's read them. First off is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the first in a duology. It has to do with like magical libraries or something. I'm not sure 100%, but I've heard great things about Laini Taylor in general. I've also heard people talk about her Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. So I want to make this a priority in 2023 and finally get around to this book. The next book, it's such a long series. Well, actually the next two are such long series. The Throne of Glass series. I tried her A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which was labeled more of a new adult fantasy romance series. I wasn't the biggest fan. I heard that it gets better. People are constantly talking about that series, and they're constantly talking about this series. I want to make it a priority in 2023. I'm gonna read myself some Sarah J Maas and hop on the bandwagon. Like, this needs to happen. I don't know how many books are in this series. I'm gonna guess 7. I'll look it up, but there's a lot of books in the series. Same thing for this. City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Mortal Instrument series, and then how many books are out? So she's got this first trilogy, and then there's a trilogy, The Infernal Devices, that you need to read, and then she did another 3. There are so many books in this series, I don't even know how many, and I think because of that, I'm so overwhelmed, and it's just going to be the longest series ever. Really want to get to this book in 2023. We will see. The next book is a book that I don't know much about. It's a young adult novel. I feel like a lot of people who enjoy fantasy also enjoy this. Did I say what this was? The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. And then last for my young adult is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I was very much Twihard back in the day. I have not read Midnight Sun. If you don't know, this is the book that got leaked. It was Twilight, but from Edward's perspective, and it got leaked, and Stephanie Meyer was so upset that she just scrapped the whole book. But she did release like the first couple of chapters that she had finished on her website, and oh my god, I was devastated. I went online and read it, and I was just so upset that I couldn't finish it. And now I finally can, and I still haven't read it. I don't know when this came out. Yeah, I don't know when this came out, and I still haven't gotten around to it. I was actually talking to somebody at work about it, and she hasn't gotten to this book either, and she's also a Twilight fan, so I really want to get to that. I have 4 literary fiction novels that I really need to get to. I will not go into 2024 without reading these novels. The first is an emotional one, a traumatic one that a lot of people have read, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. You either love this book to the depths of your soul, or you absolutely hate this book. We follow the life, and I think the couple of friends, but it's mainly the main character. I think his name is Jude, and his life, and it is not a pretty picture. Like, it is rough. I'm constantly seeing vlogs, and people are just like sobbing.
I finished A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara.
So I really want to get to that. The next book that I want to read is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. As soon as this came out, I picked it up and I haven't read it. And it just sounds so interesting. This is a novel about a woman who, in her mind, dated her English teacher in high school, and she was in love with this man. They had a relationship. They're no longer together, but she still sees him as an important figure in her life until one day a teenager asks her to share her experience because this teenager was sexually assaulted by this teacher. And Vanessa, she's just like coming to the grips with the fact of what happened to her. Like, it wasn't a romantic relationship. Like, her teacher was a predator who targeted his student. Next is an author that I love. I loved and read Sally Rooney 3 years ago. And I was very shocked at how much I loved that novel. And so this is her latest release, Beautiful World, Where Are You? She's only got 3 novels out. So I've kind of been hoarding it, but I think I want to finally get to it in this next year and read more Sally Rooney and just fall in love with her all over again. And then last but not least is a book that's on my mind a lot. Whenever I look at my literary fiction shelf, this is a book that I think will really hit me in the feels and will really be emotional. And that is Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. And this is a book set in Nigeria in the 80s. Yeah, in the 80s. It's like about a woman who's having fertility issues. In Nigeria, in the culture at the time, it was very common for men to have multiple wives. But the couple in this book, they had decided from the beginning, like, that is not the relationship or life that we want. We are in love. You know, it's just going to be us two. But she's having fertility issues, and there's a lot of pressure from the family for him to take on another wife so that they can have children. I feel like I'm really going to be affected by this book. It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. I'm not sure if it won. I'll have to look that up. But it looks like it's going to be a really emotional read. So I have one nonfiction book. It is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. If you don't know about Chanel Miller and her story, I will link a couple of YouTube videos about how I heard her story up when it came out, and I still haven't read it. So that's going to happen. And then we're on to our last 2 books. Are you excited? So these are 2 classics that are going to be heart-wrenching, and I think they're going to be really hard reads for me, which is why I haven't picked them up. But they're classics, and I feel like I have to get to them. I can't move on until they have been read, and that is Beloved by Toni Morrison. When the movie came out for this, I was definitely too young to watch it, and I probably wouldn't have understood it. Now, I think I am ready and prepared to finally get to Beloved. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really hard, tough read, but one worth reading. And then the same with The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I watched the movie adaptation and I did not understand it. It was very dark. I think now that I'm older, I think now is the perfect time to reread the book and rewatch the movie. That is the last book on my top 23 books to read in 2023. When I look at this pile, I get really excited and I can't wait to read them. I will probably do an update video on where I am on getting through the TBR. If you've done a 23 books that you want to read in 2023 video, let me know down below because I would love to go and watch it. That is everything for today, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye! Do not fall over. Okay, I was gonna like try and pick all of this up to show you, but there's no way. I'm gonna drop them and I'm gonna end up hurting my poor books. So, what if I just pile them really, really high? Okay, I still got a ton that I can't fit. But these are all of the books that you can't even see. But this would make a great thumbnail, so